Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fire525, and tonight is another pubcast requested by a Mr. Chocolate Soup from the Dota 2 Cast It subreddit. And all I know about this game is that there's some very good plays from ET. It's one of the reasons I decided to cast it, because, well, I like playing ET. It's always good to see somebody else who can actually play the hero. So it's an AP game, so unfortunately no real analysis of picks and bans. I can say that the Dire has a very, very farm-oriented lineup. You've got a Faceless Void, who is useless for the first 10-15 minutes of the game. His team basically has to be able to defend him, which is a bit of a problem because you've got a Juggernaut, who's also a carry. You've got No D, also a carry. You've got ET, not necessarily bad, but he's not a hero. He's not, for example, a Venge. He's not a Jakiro, he's not a Rubik. He's not somebody who you can stick a couple of levels in him and he's fine. He's somebody who needs a good teammates to actually be able to combo well with him. And meanwhile, we've got the Timber. Now, what ET does have going for him, though, is his Aura, which will massively boost the damage coming out from Juggernaut's spin, massively boost the damage coming out from Juggernaut's ulti. You've also got a Faceless Void who can chrono down, and Mr. Elder Titan pops his spirit down next to somebody in the middle of that, and they'll suddenly just take a lot of extra damage from Faceless Void's right clicks. And finally, we've got the OD, whose ulti, if that comes slamming down on top of a team that's affected by Mr. Fried Chicken's aura, Fried Chicken, I should say, his aura. Thank you. Apparently had the overlay on. Then, again, an astronomical amount of damage. I'm getting some FPS drops. I think that's fine now. Yeah, just during that initial pick phase, null pick, it sometimes goes a little bit dodgy. Meanwhile, over on, which I mean, like I said, that damage boost may actually be rather problematic for the Radiant side, because you've got very squishy heroes. You've got a Christopher, who is, well, not the squishiest hero in the game, somebody who can't really afford to be caught out. You've got a Disruptor, likewise, and the Riki, also in a lot of HP. Luna eventually will get that BKB, but for the time being, she hasn't got much either. Let's run over the teams now. Mr. Hoodrat is going to be playing that Disruptor. Bot lane, it looks like it's actually going to be a tri lane, which you don't always see in a pub. Meanwhile, Moneybag Z cursing his fate as the off-lane Rubik. Muse going to be playing that Riki. Mr. Fenrir actually going to the top lane after all on that Crystal Maiden. Finally, Tsunami playing Mrs. Luna in the mid lane. We've got Fried Zicken, might actually run into that. No, so Fried Zicken and then a whole heap of characters I'm not going to attempt to say on the Elder Titan. Detui over on that Timbersaw bot lane. Mr. Chinese characters playing that Juggernaut, also bot lane. Kacho at Pub Stomp playing that Faceless Void. And finally, Mappy playing the mid OD. So let's see how it's going to go. It's going to be dual lane versus dual lane. Yeah, so I mean the lanes obviously they're not being run with any specific strategy in mind, because I mean you've got a Timbersaw laning with a Juggernaut, so they've got no real setup for Juggernaut's spin at all, nowhere to keep him there. But at the same time, you have got two squishy heroes. Mr. Hoodrat going straight in with that field, just going to try and get some right clicks in, but now just getting chased away by the Juggernaut. I'm not really sure why he opted to go in there, because you haven't really got a Riki. During those early levels, doesn't really have any killing power at all. He's not somebody you specifically need to run away from Juggernaut now, harrying him away. Meanwhile, top lane, we've got Elder Titan taking some right clicks from Fenrir. Fenrir just kind of sitting there and wailing away at Fried Zicken. In terms of the last, it's nice. I mean, Luna is in the lead with 3, but there's nothing really major at the moment. Juggernaut and OD, meanwhile, have absolutely nothing. Which is I mean, OD has 3 stacks of imprisonment, so he has 72 base damage. You should be able to get some right clicks in on those creeps, but none so far. No really good engagements going on, which is, I mean, sort of the problem, because Juggernaut often is picked with, in a pub game, you're picking with the, where you have got a Timber Chain coming out, and meanwhile, I managed to miss first, but at top lane, as you're dropping the right clicks. The Stomp wasn't used on Elder Titan, so I think it was just nukes and Faceless Void jumping in on the Crystal Maiden. Crystal Maiden, of course, being a very squishy hero. But yeah, you typically see a Juggernaut in a pub if you want to combo. You're going to see him with that Crystal Maiden. You're going to see him sometimes with a hero like Disruptor, because if you can keep somebody next to him while he spins, they die instantly. however, with a Timbersaw. Timbersaw, I mean, sure has the nuke, but until he hits level 6, he doesn't really have a way to keep people next to him. Another field coming out on the Juggernaut. Juggernaut's just going to spin straight through it and opt to run. Oh, he's going for Ricky after all. And out comes the jump from Ricky. He might actually be in a trouble kid. Timbersaw chains through, but down goes Juggernaut to a right click. Ricky now on the run. Hoodrat taking damage from tower. He's going to drop just to the tower, I think, and Juggernaut gets the kill for that. Out comes a chain, which I think Ricky actually managed to tango that just in time. I'm not sure if he did that on purpose, but if so, a nice play. If not, well, bad luck for Timbersaw, I suppose. I mean, both teams have a lot of AoE presence. I'd say that it's greater on Dire, especially because you've got that big setup from Faceless Void. You've got a Timbersaw who I think can Timber Chain through. I'm not 100% sure now that I think about it. If he might actually be playing rather aggressively on Ricky. Looks like he wants to go in. Out comes the blink from Ricky. He should be able to get away. And meanwhile, Hoodrat, yeah, takes a little bit of damage to spin, but also able to get away. Because Timbersaw's chain in Dota 1 is stopped by stuns. I'm not sure how it interacts with Kona. So Faceless Void meanwhile picking up another kill top lane. Now going for Moneybag yet again. Moneybag trying to finish off Mr. Fried Zicken, but he should be able to get away with that speed boost coming out from the Spirit. And a nice bash on Moneybag Z. That should be enough to kill him. And it is with Fried Zicken finishing him off with a Spirit. Yay, says Mr. Fried Zicken in the chat. Very happy to get away with. That was less than 20 health, I believe, at the time of escape. But yeah, while Dire has a lot of AoE, you've also got a lot coming out from the Radiant side, especially with that Warlock. If he gets bonds, if he gets bonds, he can bonds up. If he bonds up a team, suddenly you got Luna attacking. Her damage gets massively amplified because of Moonglaive. And there's bounce between everybody, getting 20% extra damage from that bonds for each person that hits. Plus, you've got an ulti coming down, you've got Christopher an ulti, and of course, Luna's ulti. Disruptor, of course, can disrupt the combo with his silence. If he can drop that, if he can not get caught in the Chronosphere and drop a good ulti on the enemy team, he can potentially prevent them from just getting melted during a Chronosphere. But still, as I said, you've got a team of Squishy's team going up against a team of more tanky heroes who also, I feel, have slightly better AoE presence in terms of just general damage. Fenrir taking damage, yeah, should be able to get away. They were going for the Faceless Void, but I think that Shadow Ward is not going to be enough to finish him off. Now Fenrir running around, he's going for the stomp, able to hit Fenrir, calling it back, calling out the Spirit. He has got some nice right click damage from that, but he has opted to just use the speed boost to run away. Or is he? He's going back in. No. Alright.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Right. Just looking over at the items. My apologies, wrong tab. The items. We've already got Disruptor picking up the Urn, but I mean, Urn's one of those items where if you're going to roam, sure, fine, but at the moment he's just going to stay in this lane, and it's against two tanky heroes, which, to be honest, you're not going to be able to kill, because even if you do get a very good field off in Juggernaut, he can just spin straight out of it. So, I would have preferred possibly the mech there, unless he is opting going to roam in the next couple of levels. He's not maxing Glimpse, so it would suggest that he's going to be sticking in lane and trying to harass instead. Ricky takes a little bit of damage from a chain. Detru's going to keep going in. He's still got, yeah, for about a second left on that chain, and Ricky's healing up now. Should be able to get away. He drops the smoke, and he's going to run straight into Detru. Managed to get a Whirling Death off, and chain straight through. One pops on Mr. Ricky. TP in from Fenrir, and they should be actually pick off Detru using the Nova plus Frostbite. Ricky now playing very aggressive, going for the Juggernaut, but he's going to opt to back off. So, nice rotation from Fenrir, able to secure them the kill and save the Ricky's life. I think that Ricky would have managed to get away anyway. But that is, yeah, good play from him. But going back to items, chain coming out from, no, he's just going for the creep faves. Warlock meanwhile going for the more supportive Observer Wards, boots, or whatever. Often you see Warlocks playing sort of a semi-carry where they'll just kind of forgo anything else and either go straight for the Refresher or straight for the Aghanim's. For that well, basically for the power that an ulti offers. And to be honest, against this lineup, that's kind of the build I'd prefer, because you can't really afford to play this sort of supportive build, because Luna's really your only strong carry. And you have to be able to beat the enemy at their own game in terms of that AoE lineup. So, if they get the way you're off, you're very nearly dead. But if you could turn around and drop an ulti on, suddenly they have to think twice about trying to go in, because their health suddenly just melted as well, going up against 2, possibly 4 golems that have just rained down on them. Luna, she's got about 600 gold, but she's only got the Treads and Wraith Band so far. BKB is really a necessity here, I feel, because you've just got so much damage coming out from the Timbersaw in particular. And so I'd be surprised if she's probably going to go Yasha, and then I would recommend just going straight BKB, because otherwise the AoE damage from Timber, I mean, you're still taking damage from the OD ulti, but things like Arcane Orb and indeed the spin from Juggernaut won't be able to hurt you. So it takes the edge off the AoE wombo combo. Meanwhile, over on the Dire, nothing really to report on item builds at the moment. I mean, Faceless Void is the only one to really finish his treads. And again, it's a bit of a problem in terms of just how farm reliant. I mean, he's going for Morbid Mask, which suggests the Mask of Madness build. Not in and of itself a bad thing, however, Warlock can sit well back from a fight. If he can get a good ulti off on Faceless Void, he might be able to just he'll be able to disrupt them and potentially kill him if another member of Crystal Maiden gets a kill. Juggernaut now spinning, going for Muse. Nice ulti by ET. He opts to cancel the sleep though. Everybody was getting away. Out comes the ulti from Timbersaw, able to finish off the Crystal Maiden. So that was an OD going down for 2 support kills. Now Tsunami, she doesn't have the mana for ulti. Out comes the Timber Chain, and she might be very dead here. We do have the ulti up on, and not even needed. Out comes the ET Spirit. Faceless Void meanwhile has dropped his ulti down. He looked like he was going for Riki, but Riki's now faded away, and we don't have detection on the Dire sides. We're just going to have to... Actually, we do have an EA Sentry Ward there, and the spin is going to be enough to finish off the Riki, who runs back into the Sentry without realizing it. So, I think that's a support Juggernaut we've got going on here. He just placed a Ward down and a Sentry. So he's going to be playing that supporting role. Again, it's the issue with picking 5 carries, is that, well, for 3 carries, 1 quite farm-dependent hero who needs to get his Bloodstone early on to really be able to influence the teamfight heavily, and an ET who, not farm-dependent, but he's not a support hero by any means. Meanwhile, rotation coming out from the Dire's side. Luna looks to be in a bit of trouble here. We probably get a jump in initiation from Void, and there it is. Out comes the ulti from Mr. Tsunami. The imprisonment comes out, but it's not able to do anything, and he might just drop to the right clicks from the Luna. Very powerful because of that passive, and indeed he does. Mr. Void now doing all his worth. He should just jump and... No, he's not even going to bother with time walking away. Warlock now showing up. It's only level 5, so he doesn't have his ulti to deal with the Juggernaut. Juggernaut does have his ulti, but he's not going to bother casting on Mr. Moneybag Z. Out comes the Disruptor. He doesn't have his ulti yet, so they haven't really got a way of locking down Timbersaw, who will just be able to chain from away from any real aggressive play at this point, unless you can get a very good smoke ring coming out from Riki. I'll just go back to the Disruptor because I want to check. He has taken 2 points in glitch, but really against a Timbersaw, you really need at least 3 because he can get out of the max range within the blink of an eye. You want to be able to call him back if necessary, if they want to play aggressive, that is. Meanwhile, ulti coming out on top of Tsunami. Out comes the Stomp and... Sorry, not the Stomp, the Spirit and the ulti. That's something I haven't actually touched on. The ability... Because, Earth Splitter is very hard to hit skill against a team that's paying attention. However, Faceless Void can just jump in, throw down his ulti, and you've got a nice, a skill that does 35% of your enemy's HP. And if you've got the setup for Faceless Void, why not? Plus, you can get that Spirit Throw down with the Order to deal damage, well, to increase the damage coming out from the Earth Splitter and everything else as well. And again, if they can get that Faceless Void initiation, I think the rest of the team will be able to follow up a lot more heavily than the Radiant can from a Warlock ulti. Especially because, I mean, Christopher, she's prone to stun, she can just get that OT to disrupt away with the imprisonment. However, if he doesn't save that imprisonment, Christopher basically has free reign to rain down Snow Blast on her enemy. We have got 3 grouping up mid. I'm not sure if they want to go in. Christopher hasn't taken her ulti yet, but we do have the ulti up on Disruptor and the ulti up on Warlock. Luna, meanwhile, 15 seconds away from her, so they might try and go for a concerted push. Because you have got every ulti bar Juggernauts and bar ODs down. You've still got the Faceless Void ulti, still 30 seconds away from that. And ET, without Faceless Void's ulti, he's going to have a very difficult time hitting his on more than one person. Of course, he does have that setup from OD to set up an ulti on at least one. But generally with that ulti, you want to be hitting as many people as possible. And so they'll probably try and wait for that Faceless Void to behave more aggressively. We get the silence coming out from the Disruptor. He is going to glimpse back Mr. Detsu, and he opts to run straight into it. Juggernaut now trying to get away. Out comes the ulti from Warlock, stuns the Juggernaut, and Juggernaut with an ulti managed to actually dodge the chain. Ulti comes out from ET, not able to hit anybody. He stomps and hits 2. Mew's now very low, but Mr. Friedrich can't actually see him. Ulti coming out from the Timbersaw, but not able to hit anything. He's going to chain away. So, I mean, Juggernaut wasn't really able to accomplish much with that ulti there, and that should be a tower here, because we've got 2 people on the run. We've got the Faceless Void, unless he opts the TP, and we have got a TP coming out from Mr. Chinese characters, the Juggernaut. He's going to spin and maybe go for the Riki, but opting not to after all, and now he's going to have the backup with the field coming out. Another TP coming out from the Timbersaw. Do we have the glimpse up on Disruptor? We do, but he has no mana for it, because that is always a painful thing to have happen. To TP in to try and defend, and then be glimpsed all the way back to your base. Summon Nemo farming away. Now it's 60 last hits in terms of net worth. Ricky's actually in the lead, despite sitting behind in terms of double damage coming out on the OD. Meanwhile, a haste on Warlock. Warlock's still 80 seconds away from his ulti though, so that's not going to be enough time to... Because a hasted Warlock is a painful thing to be playing against because of how powerful that initiation is. He's got... His ulti already has a massive cast range. And Faceless Void managed to pick up a kill on the Luna. And ulti did come out, and ET, I think, used the Stomp and his Astral Spirit. I do apologize for missing these kills. We're just going to set Luna back small, which I think is why she's behind Riki in net worth, because she has had more deaths. Riki, I believe, only with the single one, indeed. Meanwhile, Faceless Void, that's his 2nd kill on Luna. It shows in terms of his net worth, he is the highest. He now does have his Mask of Madness, but again, without the ulti, that's one of the problems with Mask of Madness, is that it limits your fighting to your ultis and nothing else. Because, you can't fight anybody with your ulti, with Mask of Madness up. Juggernaut, meanwhile, getting a kill on Riki. That was his ulti coming out. Luna has TP'd in, and she should be able, or will she? Out comes the ulti from ET, catches 2, and a Stomp catches Moneybag. And he's just going to drop straight to right click from the ET. Now seeing 116 plus damage with the Spirit. Tsunami hiding in the trees. I don't think he knows where she is, and he needs to wait for his Spirit to come back up. She does stun him though, so he might turn around and go for the Spirit, but he is not. He's opting to back up.
Way.
So, nice fight from them. I feel they managed to pick up the Riki and the Warlock, taking no losses on their own. They did have to use the ulti, 2 ultis to accomplish it. But still, the Riki, like I said, he's sitting higher in net worth than Luna. Late game, he's much less of a factor. Although, depending on how we go in BKBs, he can potentially jump out onto OD and finish him before he can react if he's going for the Mask of Madness bash and build. And he's going to jump onto Magi now, dropping down the smoke, but he's out of range, out of the smoke now. Even if that TB hadn't come out, he would have been able to turn around. Out comes the ulti from Tsunami, able to drop so 2 ultis coming out. Nice Stomp catches Moneybag Z, but we don't have the ulti up on ET just yet, so we can't follow up. Meanwhile, Timbersaw managed to jump in on top of the Luna, gets off the ulti, and the Whirling Death, and the Chain is now to finish her off. Now we've got 2 running away. Nice ulti from ET, not actually able to catch Mr. Detu, but it does silence Juggernaut. Stomp catches 2 Mimo here, and that, no, they're actually able to get away in time, glimpsing back the Elder Titan. That's the one problem with only taking 2 points to Stomp. It means you have a lot more power aggressively, because you have Astral Spirit dealing a lot more damage, you've got Natural Order, which massively amplifies damage, but at the same time, in situations like this, you can't use Stomp really effectively because it only lasts for that small amount of time. If it had 1 or maybe 2 more points in it, then they would have all been able to catch up and just wail away.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Okay, I wasn't sure if he was looking for a kill there, but no, just going for that Golem. It looks like they're all grouping up to push mid. We have the ulti up on OD, we have the ulti up on Faceless Void, and of course, and the ulti up on Juggernaut. So if they want to go for this, they have the advantage, because Moneybag Z, still without an ulti. We've still got the Luna, no ulti. Ricky, of course, always has. So 2 TPs coming out to defend. Bot though, 3 actually, drops down the smoke and the field, which will prevent the really problem. And the Glimpse coming out on Faceless Void, sending all the way back. Now, Detu going aggressive, goes for the ulti. He still has Chain if need be, but he's going to back unless Stomp. No, that catches absolutely 0. Luna now rotated bot. She's about 40 seconds away from her ulti. Warlock, likewise, 57. And I think, yeah, if this fight happens now, the Dire side will have the advantage because they just have the great area presence. Spin coming out on Moneybag Z is taking a little bit of damage, but he should just be able to heal through it. Ricky pops down his smoke and tries to go for the Juggernaut. Juggernaut does have his ulti up, he's going to use it, he has smoked, and that should be enough. Yeah, and he's just going to drop to right click. ET throws out the ulti, only catches Warlock, nobody else. Out comes the Chain, doesn't actually hit anybody. In comes Faceless Void, and he's going to jump in and go for Mr. Warlock. He does have his ulti up, but they're going to opt to back off. Out comes the Astral Imprisonment. Faceless Void follows up almost immediately, but a bit of a misplay there, I think. TP coming out from Snow should be able to get away because, indeed, Timbersaw has no disable. One of his very few weaknesses, I'd say. In terms of item progression, they should be able to get this tower without any real difficulty. You've got 2 down, and they're going to have to TP in if they want to go for a defense. And nobody wants to TP into an angry team like this. But yeah, looking at item progression, we've got the Elder Titan. He's now picked up, an Urn, which, I mean, in terms of how much he's roaming, I think is a good pickup. We've also got the Gem, very powerful against the Ricky, and depending if Luna opts to go for the Shadow Blade, again, a nice pickup. It also means that you can take a bit of pressure off Juggernaut, who seems to be going for most of the Sentries and Dust so far. Timbersaw, though, he's still about 1,000 of his Bloodstone, and it's 20 minutes in. This is sort of the point where him getting Bloodstone starts to fade off a little bit, because it means that one of his big advantages early on is just how much sustained damage he can offer in a fight. But later on, other heroes kind of make up for that because they start to bulk up in terms of farm. And so, but to deal that sustained damage, he needs to get a Bloodstone on to be able to support his constant casting his skills. So much later, and he will have an issue. However, he's about 1,000 off. Depending on how this next fight goes, if he's able to get that 1,000 before the next big fight, or if indeed they're able to win the next big fight and then lead to him getting 1,000 kills, shouldn't be too much of an issue. But if it's delayed for much longer, I think he will start to feel it, especially with that Luna going for that BKB with the Ogre's Club. Juggernaut, meanwhile, absolutely nothing. Bit of a problem with the with the support Juggernaut. It means you have no farm at all. Of course, he does still have that damage coming from Blade Fury. He does still have the big buff coming out from Healing Ward, which will make a bit of a difference. But it's not the same thing as Juggernaut jumping in and just shredding your team because he's ridiculously fun. Chain coming out from Mr. Detu, but not actually able to do anything because the Stomp misses. Meanwhile, over on Radiant, we've got an Arcane Boots and Disruptor. That's about it. He has got a Ring of Health, and that's potentially a mech, potentially a, indeed, he's going for the hedges, so it's either mech or a pipe. I said the mech's probably more useful, although the pipe will take the edge off that AoE damage. So, I mean, either way, either one would really work at this point. Later in the game, mech starts to fall off a little bit more than pipe does. But, yeah, Warlock, meanwhile, got absolutely nothing. Again, I think he's saving for either Refresher or the, Yeah, it is going to be that mech coming out from Disruptor. But I think, well, I hope he's saving for the Ultimate Orb or the Refresher, because, like I said, they do need that AoE damage, because in these fights, it's going to come down basically to who has the bigger AoE presence. At the moment, definitely the Radiant side, but with items, the advantage swings back towards Radiant. Ricky, meanwhile, I'm not sure what he's going for. He went for the Mask of Madness, and the Mask of Madness Basher build is sort of an effective one. Ulti coming out on top of Tsunami. She has popped her own ulti in return. Detri might just go down, but no, an ulti coming out of Juggernaut is going to be enough to finish off. Ricky jumps in and kills two. Out comes a double silence on Juggernaut. And buyback from Luna. But nice initiating Ricky. So yeah, he's going for that Mask of Madness. Typically with Mask of Madness you see that Basher build. Because he can run around, catch somebody, throw down a smoke, Mask of Madness, and just kill somebody before they can even really react, before they can get out of the smoke. And even if the smoke does wear out, you still got those Bashers to try and follow up to lock them down. Invis Rune here, Warlock does have his ulti up, so if you can get that, you've got a nice initiation. He's going to pick it up. He still hasn't bought anything though, so I'm not, unless he's going for a Radiance, which is something I would very much advise against. But yeah, Luna, I think, going for that BKB, as I was saying before. Christopher again, sitting on almost nothing. But that should be a return tower. TP coming out from the Timbersaw. We might see a glimpse coming out. The Stompy is going to catch Hoodrat underneath the tower, but he manages to get the glimpse off on Timbersaw, which will buy him some time, and indeed enough to get away. The ulti comes out from EDT, but not going to follow up. Imprisonment coming out on the Crystal Maiden. This is a very, very dead Crystal Maiden. No, she is dead. Ulti coming out from Warlock, actually able to catch True, might be enough to save her. She is going to drop. Out comes the Upheaval. Out of time now, running away very low, and he's going to drop to a Lunar Lucent Beam. Now in comes the chain from the from the Timbersaw. He's just trying to get away with his life. And this should actually be another tower, although he does have the anti-push tower. Out comes the Lucent Beam. Not able to do too much though.
Moon's blessings.
And they're actually going to have to opt the back off there. But I mean, I doubt Christian Rain was intentionally betting that, but as it turned out, it was a nice initiation by Warlock, because when you've got heroes bunched up like that, you can throw down the chaotic offering, and then Fatal bonds people together, and you've got a very nice, just general teamfight presence. Just being able to catch people like that. I think the OD was finished up before he could get his ulti off. Faceless Void, likewise. And, yeah, it just meant if you can catch somebody with their pants down, especially at this point, because OD, if he goes for it, he might need to think about getting a BKB just so he can survive long enough to get his ulti off, because they can't really afford to be initiated on like that. The one thing I don't like about what Warlock's doing is that he's gone for the heal over Upheaval. Upheaval, I think, is a vastly underestimated skill, especially, I mean, one point in it, it's complete shit. And indeed, you saw him channeling the Upheaval there. It had absolutely minimal effect. However, if you take 3 points in it, it suddenly goes from this piddly thing that you can just walk straight out to a skill that, if you're caught in, you're basically screwed, because you can't run away. And unless you're in a fight like that, you're already at a disadvantage. And Upheaval coming down top of it means that there is absolutely no chance of you getting away. We have got the gem on, I believe it's Timbersaw. He did lose it before. No, the gem on ET is actually the one who picked it up. And so you are the ward presence is in Dire's favor, but I do apologize. The ward presence is in Dire's favor, although the Radiance is going for the D ward here. In fact, that brings it directly even. But with the gem, you always have a greater ward presence than the enemy team. Let's set the Biogem as well. There comes, yeah, that's definitely a Basher he's working on right now. And Ricky's going to just run away with the Mask of Madness, and he should be fine. ET going the, I'm not sure if he thought Ricky was going the other way, or if he just decided to back off and screw it. We've got 3 bunched up mid now, and this could be a good initiation. We have the Faceless Void ulti, we've got the OD ulti up, we've got the ET ulti up, and finally, we've got the Juggernaut ulti up. But no, they're going to back off. They don't have ward vision in this area, but yeah, Warlock, I think de-warding, he realizes that if 4 people are bunched up here, that could be a bit of an issue if Faceless Void suddenly decides to pop in and say hello. And my apologies, Riki actually going for the SNY, a build which I hate. Because SNY really not that good an item. It's sort of a bit of everything item, which in and of itself isn't a bad thing as kind of fallback item. But if you're going for the Mask of Madness, you have to have something to take advantage of that. The Basher is that item. SNY doesn't really do that much for you. It makes you a little bit more bulky, sure, but if you want it to be bulky, you shouldn't be buying Mask of Madness. And again, I would prefer that Basher, simply because OD is still quite squishy. He's vulnerable to being locked down. Even the Faceless Void, only sitting about 1,000 HP. If a Riki can find someone, then he can pick him off. He would have been able to pick him off with that Basher. We've got a smoke coming out, Remail from the dire side. Out comes Faceless Void and the ulti, but Glimpse is going to call him back. Tsunami's still caught inside it, and out comes the ulti to finish her off. And that was 2 ultis for 1 hero. You have got the Luna who can't buy back at this point in time. No, she doesn't. But, so I think they have to be playing aggressive right now because you do have the advantage. However, Warlock is still a massive issue for you because if you play if you don't play carefully enough, he's just going to throw down an ulti on you. You're caught with your pants down, and Luna's only down for the next 35 seconds. Which is not that long to try and push. You're actually going to farm instead. I do think they need to be playing a bit more aggressively. They need to be going for this tower here. They need to be going for this tower here. Even if you've got that mid locked down in terms of defense. And indeed, no, Timbersaw not going to go in. When you have an advantage, you need to be using it, especially because Luna now has picked up her BKB actually. You want to be able to take those fights where she can't get her BKB off in time, because once she starts using her BKB, you basically negate a lot of what Timbersaw can do to your carry. You negate a lot of what OD can do in terms of right clicks. And finally, I thought I heard a glimpse going off, but never mind me. And you can negate the Juggernaut spin. Also, if you're using 2 ultis, you kind of need to be gaining something out of it. Outside of simply picking off a single hero. We do now have the Luna back, and they're all bunching up mid. They may be going for a fight here. They don't have a smoke of their own, though. Do have ward vision. I'm not sure if it's going to be rush. It looks like they're just rotating around. Indeed, with that ward, if they decide to go for the Roshan, that would have been a disastrous fight with two smokes coming out from Timbersaw. So they're trying to be, I think they are trying to be playing aggressively. We have got pretty much all of Radiant bunching up here, Luna on the way. And Timbersaw now calling in the Courier, has a smoke on it. I think he's going to be using it right after they kill this creep wave. Remember, we have got rotation coming out from the Radiant side. Faceless Void, if Riki can get the jump on him, might be in a bit of trouble, but he's going to be able to get out in time. But that does tip off the dire side that Radiant is hanging around here. We've got the Spirit scouting them out now. Probably he's not going to be checking Ross actually. Oh no, he is. There we go. It's actually called back in time, so they still have no idea if there's a rush going down. Out comes the OD 4-star. He does manage to get the imprisonment off on top of the Luna, but should be able to get him. Ulti coming out from the Disruptor. Not really able to catch somebody. The field doesn't catch him with the out comes the ulti from Luna. Down comes the OD ulti. Out comes the Timbersaw ulti. Out comes the Warlock ulti. And down comes Faceless Void's ulti on top of 2. He's not going to be able to finish off Hoodrat. He might be able to finish off Moneybag Z, but Tsunami is the one who's their real problem, wailing away with right clicks, but she should be able to drop just to what OD's doing. Although Riki jumps in, kills the OD, and that should be... Riki, meanwhile, managed to pick off the Faceless Void. Juggernaut now in a bit of trouble. He managed to spin, and Riki is going to have to back off here, or he's just going to man-fight him down through the spin, and then drop to creep kills, to creep hits.
The sun, I rise again.
Buyback coming out from the Faceless Void, and I think they need to be going for the Rosh here, because you've still got 4 down. More importantly, the only person up is a Crystalbane, and Crystalbane by herself cannot do anything threatening your team. It looks like they're going for that tower, actually. Riki now buying back, and Riki is a massive threat, it would appear. Now at 10k net worth, compared to the next highest on the dire side, which is Faceless Void, sitting about 2,000 behind. Now, Faceless Void would farm with an equivalent amount of farm is a lot scarier than a Riki, especially late game when she starts to bulk up. But at this point, he's got that Mask of Madness, which does mean that he melts very fast to a Luna ulti. Out comes the ET Spirit scouting around. Might be able to see this Warlock. Warlock's going to walk right into it, I think. And it looks like they didn't actually, again, with that fight, they gained no advantage whatsoever. They weren't able to get a tower, they weren't able to get a Rosh. And when you come out, when you buy back, especially with the Faceless Void, you want to make sure that buyback's worth it. As is, it didn't really accomplish anything. Because now we're just kind of roaming around once again.
Stealth makes out.
Radiant meanwhile pushing top. We have got rotation, like all the Dire team moving up there now. At the same time, we've got all the rest of Radiant going up there as well. That might be able to get the tower in time because everybody's still mid. Unless it looks like they're moving up there now to defend. We have got the ulti up in Faceless Void, but no ulti up on the OD. But at the same time, Luna actually managed just to get it. We got the smoke coming out now, so they are looking for an initiation here. Warlock doesn't have his ulti at the moment, but he is going to break that smoke. On the Faceless Void, I think. Faceless Void now jumping in, going for the ulti, manages to catch Tsunami, but the glimpse brings him back, out comes the ET ulti and the Timus ulti, able to finish her off. Out comes the upheaval again, only with 1 point, and that doesn't really accomplish too much. Now out comes the Juggernaut ulti, slicing between 3, and with that damage distribution, not really able to do too much. Now in comes the Riki, goes for the 1 kill, goes for Mr. ET, out comes the Warlock ulti on 2. And he's still chasing that ET. He has his Blink managed to finish him off, and the Warlock Golem just enough to finish off the Faceless Void, the Juggernaut. Sorry, and Detu just got to drop straight to right clicks, especially from that Riki. And Riki really paying himself. Finally, that bash to pick up, and that bash does really make a difference with the Faceless Void. Sorry, with a Mask of Madness. Down goes that T2. And this might be a T3. I mean, you still got 8 seconds left on the Timbersaw. They can just wail away on this. And indeed, looking at how fast it's dropping right here, that should be a tower before Timbersaw gets back. Faceless Void still a while away. You have got the ulti up on OD, so he didn't manage. It was still on cooldown in that last fight, and he wasn't able to use it before he got picked off. He might be able to come in now, which would disrupt the push. But this is still a Rax and T2. And out comes the chain. Doesn't actually hit anything, and the field is going to prevent any kind of reciprocating attempt by the Dire side. Out comes the chain into 3. He actually is in a bit of trouble here, and indeed, out comes the Lunar ulti. He drops, out comes another stomp, catches 2, nice stomp. He does have his ulti. I would have preferred if he went with it there. And down comes the OD ulti, not actually doing any damage. Well, doing a little bit of damage, but nowhere near what you need. Pump stomp now in a lot of trouble. Out comes the silence. He's bashed inside it. And again, Muse with the massive damages, doing all the deeps. Juggernaut, meanwhile, the only person left on his team is going to be pushing bot. But, yeah, GG, says somebody in my Steam messages. And I agree. I mean, I don't really see too much that the enemy team, that the Dire team can do in this situation. Riki is an absolutely unstoppable force at this point. Void, why do I have your Quelling Blade, says the Luna. Managed to pick it up, hanging around. Out comes the Timbersaw ulti, but again, not able to do much to delay this defense. It's 27-27, suggesting even game. It really does not feel like that, though. Out comes the chain from Detu, not able to hit anything whatsoever. Out comes the ET ulti, out comes a stomp, but Juggernaut spinning, jumps through it and kind of disrupts that quite a bit. Out comes the Christmas, cancelled almost immediately by ET. Now the field preventing any kind of defense of the Juggernaut. Out comes the Riki dropping OD almost instantaneously, and that was an OD with a fair amount of health. That was about 3/4, but until the Riki jumped in and said, "No, sir."
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I mean, this bottom T2 might drop, but at this point you've got 1 Rax fully down, you've got the melee Rax down, which is really what matters in terms of Raxing. And again, I just don't see much they can do at this point. You had there an Elder Titan, almost a perfect stomp, an ulti coming through, catching 2. But as it turns out, Riki is just wailing away on people, he's picking people off. And I think maybe if you got a concerted defense where everybody on the Dire side was up, you might be able to turn it around. But at this point, you saw OD get his ulti off last fight, and it did very little damage. Said Chicken now going to drop to the Riki again roaming, and that is where the Mask Man is so powerful, because it really does boost his damage output significantly in those 1v1 sort of pick-offs that which is really the big thing that Riki can offer to his team, is with that ulti. He can be much like a Nyx if played well. Looks like they are going to go. He's going to go for that Rosh as well. Mask of Madness. They had no vision up, even though they did. Of course, Riki is an invisible hero. But yeah, OD got his ulti off in that last fight. It had very little impact at all. The health HP dropped by about 10%, if that. And so that is a pretty big issue. If your OD can't deliver in terms of his damage, then because he can't really offer much outside of his ulti, because Muse is just gonna, if he tries to wail away on people with his orb, Muse is just gonna jump on him, silence him, and just kill him almost instantaneously, as we saw in that last fight. OD tried to play and tried to move out of his base. Riki just jumped to him and sliced him to pieces. And looks like they're finally going for this T3. Oh, I say finally, it's only been about 2 minutes. But with that Aegis, they really can't defend. Out comes the Stomp, catching 2 once again. He's not going to bother to... He is going to ulti, actually. Gets Tsunami with it. In comes... Macpi, what are you doing? He tries to use the imprisonment to do something. Out comes the Warlock ulti, catches 2. And now Mr. Tsunami just picking people off with his ulti. Pub Stomp, taking quite a bit of damage. He just drops to everything. And report OD, says Detui. And, I'm not sure if that was on purpose, but I am sure that ET would have been screaming at the OD. So, I mean, entire team wipe for Dire's side. Crystalman, the only person to die, and she buys back. And this is going to be Mega Cruise without a doubt. They could probably just go, yeah, they'll be able to go straight for the tier 4. Timbersaw, the next person to respawn, he's still 20 seconds away. They can probably take down the towers in that time, looking at the damage coming out from that Luna.
The Radiant now has Mega Cubes. Dire's middle tower has fallen.
So in overall, I wouldn't say Dire actually played badly. I mean, OD did have some pretty questionable imprisonments. He managed to do that first one versus Void, and then that second out comes Riki. Yeah, and this is the thing. Up until, I'd say, 10-15 minutes ago, the game looked like it was heading significantly in Dire side's favor. They were able to get a lot more successful roams. They were roaming a lot more successfully. They were able to get greater pickoffs. Luna dying, I believe. Well, let's have a look. I think it was 2 or 3 times until that first big fight.
Icicles.
But then what happened was Riki suddenly powered through. He was at 20k worth just before he quit. And then suddenly he was able to just turn the fight around and be able to get, I think, I'm not sure if it was an Ultra in that first fight, but I think it was at least 3, and then he significantly contributed to the deaths of a lot of others. And indeed, from that fight, the game suddenly shifted back towards Dire's way. I apologize about that. So yeah, well played by Riki, I think, MVP in that game. Thank you for watching.